I'm not saying to ignore the problems that life throws at you. Of course not. What I'm saying is maybe the problems that life throws at us aren't as bad as they seem. Sure, you get hit by like a few curveballs in life, and you feel like that you're in like a deep, like abyss or something. But then you just kind of, you work through it, and then you just kind of get back up on your feet, and it's really not that bad. It feels bad at the time, so bad, but it's just a curveball. Welcome back to the Junior Mints podcast. My name is Finn Lawler. I'm your host. The point of this podcast is for me to give you guys my thoughts, opinions, and advice about things in life. Basically, I want to help you guys out navigate this tricky thing we call life. So, let's get to it. So, in this episode, I want to talk about something that I thought of a while ago. And it's like, think back. Remember when life used to be like not as, what's the word, complicated, and it used to be like just simpler, and just it used to feel not as chaotic. So here's a hypothetical. Take a moment and think back when you were in middle school or when you were 12 or 13. Remember when life's problems just weren't as problematic, or they weren't even there? Remember when you could just live without life constantly wanting to punch you in the face? My question is, why can't we go back to that, but like as adults? Like, what's holding us back from going back to that area in life where life just doesn't want to punch us in the groin? You know what I'm saying? you know? So I'm sure it's possible to go back to that point where life just doesn't want to hit you in the face, but whatever, like, what it'd be nice to go back to that point. It'd be amazing, actually. So I won't deny the fact that life has some pretty serious curveballs, but what if those curveballs weren't even there? In other words, what if you just didn't worry about life's curveballs and continued to move forward with no matter what? It's definitely possible. I mean, okay, I can't say that the curveballs won't be there, because how would you be able to grow as a person if the curveballs weren't there in the first place? Without struggle, how can growth be possible? So I'm not saying the curveballs won't be there. I'm saying, what if you get hit by the curveball, but then you just stand back up and you just keep going? Trust me, it's way, way easier said than done. Abso-freaking-lutely. But what if that could be the case for everything? I'm thinking, I'm doing some big thinking here, but it's definitely possible, and it'd be nice to live that sort of lifestyle. Like I expect in my life to have more struggles, and like life is full of struggles. Abso-freaking-lutely. Like, it's how you react and how you respond to those struggles that really makes who you are. Wow, I'm getting very philosophical on this podcast. Oh my gosh. So the idea for this episode came to me after, ironically, I watched Top Gun Maverick with my friends and my parents. And after the movie, I began to think, which in my case is very dangerous. The reason I thought of like a middle school situation is, well, because a family friend of ours brought their middle school daughter to the movie with us. And like, for some reason, as soon as I saw that the middle schooler was with us, I thought to myself, man, remember when I was back in middle school and life just didn't seem as chaotic as it is right now for anybody? Like, wow, things were more simple at that point. At least it felt that way. Either because I was younger and I was more naive at that point, but like, dang, like, why can't, man, like, everything was so much more simple back at age 13. Why can't things be more simple? Like now. Like, sure, I know life isn't simple. Absolutely. Life is just whatever. Life is complicated, but anyway, like, I can make things simple for myself and all that. It just takes work. So, again, I'm not saying to ignore the problems that life throws at you. Of course not. What I'm saying is maybe the problems that life throws at us aren't as bad as they seem. You know, sure, you get hit by like a few curveballs in life, and you feel like that you're in like a deep, like abyss or something. But then you just kind of, you work through it, and then you just kind of get back up on your feet, and it's really not that bad. It feels bad at the time, so bad, but it's just a curveball. You catch it and you throw it right back. So let's let that sink in for a second, though. Think about it. Just ponder that while I'm talking at you for the next couple of minutes. I know that's a very optimistic way of looking at it, but maybe optimism is a necessity for right now. And I'm not saying, yeah, no, optimism is good. That's what I'm saying. So here's another hypothetical scenario. Let's say that you struggle with like alcohol abuse or like a drug addiction or something. Let's presume, and by presume I mean assume, let's assume that you're doing your best to break the habit, and you can't seem to break it for whatever reason. Now, let's go back to that middle school scenario. Do your best to remember how you felt when that alcohol addiction, for example, wasn't present in your life, My next tip for you would be to try and do your best to remember what you were doing at that age, for example, when things were not as complicated. For example, think about what you were doing when you weren't drinking, for example. Like, what kind of things were you doing? And could you maybe go back and do those things? I'm not saying go back to school. No, I'm saying, well, you could. No, what I'm saying is you could pick up a new hobby, join a new friend group somewhere. Like, think about what you were doing at that age, whatever age it was, before the, let's say, addiction was present. Does that kind of make sense? Think about it. So, the purpose of that is to, in other words, distract you from the addiction, whatever it may be. And then the more you distract yourself from that addiction and you try to do other things besides that addiction, you'll feel better when you actually focus on things that aren't trying to knock you down. And essentially what I'm trying to say is when you distract yourself and do other things besides that addiction, you'll feel a lot better as a person. So I'll close with this. Most importantly, if there's an issue in your life, the best thing to do in order to solve that problem, and this goes back to the younger and simpler thing, is to address that problem first. And like, what was that say? What is that they say? They say something like the very important thing for a problem is to address it. Like if you have an addiction to something. So address it first and then see what you can do about it. So, man, remember when you were back in like middle school or something and your drug addiction wasn't prevalent? Man, like that mindset, not the mindset of being a 13-year-old. No. The mindset of just more mental clarity, more focused, more productivity. If you have more productivity, yeah, let's just say that things, hypothetically, I'm messing up my words here, but it's fine. Remember when things were, I'll close with this. Remember when things were simple? Why can't we go back to that, And it's possible. It just takes a lot of work. Because with an addiction, you dig yourself so far down into that hole that it's like You're trying to look up and you're just going, man, I really want to just get out. It'll take work, but it's definitely possible. Anyway, I hope that makes sense. If you don't address an addiction or a problem sooner, it gets bad. So bad later. Trust me. Been there. Anyway, this has been the Junior Mints Podcast. I have been your host, Finn Lawler. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys did, drop a like, subscribe down below, and we will see you guys next time. Peace.